Hey, 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 well, here goes nothing. It is storming like crazy out there, and I'm hoping we don't lose electricity. The dogs are all huddled in, they're terrified. But I wanted to share with you this chicken crust margherita pizza. It is awesome. We tried it this week, and for the first time ever, my son ate pizza and liked it, which was really exciting to me. Wish I had discovered this like years ago when he was like in middle school, when all the other normal kids, you know, and it was pizza night or whatever at the school, and all the other kids were excited about it, and my son was like, ugh, and he would just peel off the cheese and pepperoni or whatever that was on it because he hated the bread, the crust. Yes, I know, so strange. But anyway, this is awesome. It's the chicken crust margherita pizza, and it is so simple. So I think one of the reasons why I avoided making it for the longest time, because it's been on our group page in the recipe section for a long time, and I've always looked at it and thought, oh, that looks good. But I think there was something about the ground chicken that was a little bit intimidating to me. And for some reason, I guess I was thinking I needed to go to the butcher, to Marjack's to get it or whatever, but no, you can just go to the grocery store. And the trick is, when you go over to the poultry area, of course there's gonna be a lot of turkey, but there is chicken back there typically. And there'll be typically two different types of chicken. You'll have the ground chicken, which is just ground regular chicken, and then you're gonna have this, the ground chicken breast, which is 98% fat-free. So that's what you wanna get. The ground chicken breast is the one that's the healthier option. But it's your life. You can use whatever you want to, but if you're trying to get healthier in 2021, this is just a suggestion, the ground chicken breast. So I'm doubling the recipe. The recipe that I have calls for, it serves two, but y'all know my attitude about that two doesn't cut it in a lot of households. And you'll find that it's surprisingly filling. So we're just gonna add the first 4 ingredients to do the crust. And this is gonna have to be a two-parter because we're gonna have to cook the crust, of course, before we put the rest of the stuff on it, because it's gonna take longer to cook this chicken. So we're just gonna do the chicken breast, the ground chicken breast, the 2 eggs, 4 tablespoons of grated Parmesan cheese, and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. So pretty easy. And I'm a little bit nervous about cracking eggs in front of people because I always feel like I'm gonna have eggshells go into it, but hooray. Thank goodness I didn't mess that up. You know, when you're cracking eggs, like you're doing scrambled eggs, and then you gotta dig the eggshells out because they're disgusting if you get a hold of them. All right, so here's your teaspoon of Italian seasoning and your 4 tablespoons of Parmesan. I get the Parmesan that I grate myself. It's so much better. Just saying, you use whatever's easiest for you. Again, those of you working hard all day, driving home in the rain, in the storms. If we lose power, the good thing is just wait for 12 seconds and our generator will cut in, but it will be a little bit awkward. So I'm just gonna mix this up real good. Get the egg, the cheese. You know, and if you ever want to be a part of our group page where we have more of these recipes and tips, healthy tips and whatnot, just maybe put a thumbs up in the comments section. Let me know, and we can add you to that page. All about good health, whether or not you want to lose weight or you just want to be a healthier you. Nothing bad can come from that. All right, so now we got it kind of mixed up. I mean, you know, it's good enough. It's a little bit better. The really good chefs will say, now you're gonna make it tough if you mix it up that much. I can't tell the difference, so. And I've got the parchment paper on my cookie sheet. So the recipe calls for some cooking spray, but If you're using parchment paper, there's no need to have the cooking spray. I did not have a problem with that at all. So now the fun stuff begins, because now I'm gonna feel like a kid playing in the dirt or the mud. It's kind of messy. And I'm just gonna spread it out. And the directions are to cook for 20 minutes, just the crust, before we add any of the toppings. I found that because I doubled the recipe, I needed to cook it a little bit longer, like 25 minutes, to get the chicken, you know, because it's chicken. I don't mess around with chicken. I want it cooked all the way. I don't want anybody to get sick because of me. And this is just a little bit messy. So you're just gonna work it. I guess you could make it square if you wanted to. But anyway, I was very excited when Matthew liked it. But then also a little bit sad that I hadn't done it before. So this looks almost good. Just trying to even it out. For some of y'all, maybe trying to be too perfectionist. For others of you, I'm probably not doing it just quite right. This looks a little bit thicker over here. Just spread it out a little bit more. Okay. Alrighty. So the oven is at 400. And again, I have to, nothing like ground chicken on your hands. And I have to cook it for about 25 minutes or so. And then when it comes out all golden brown, it's beautiful. And I'll just boot up again and show y'all the toppings that I put on it. But it's fabulous, and it's easy, and it's quick, and it's pretty cheap. I'll do the breakdown on per serving, but it's pretty doggone cheap. So stay dry, everybody. Unless you're not in South Texas, maybe you're not dealing with this gross weather right now, but we're getting a flood right now. So talk to you soon. Bye. All right. It's still raining here, just not quite as stormy as it was earlier. We have our chicken crust out, and you know, when I first made it and I looked at it when it came out, I was like, I don't know about this. But it's really delicious. So we're gonna start, and I forgot one thing. Of course, like how could I be making something like this and not forget one thing? My Raoul's homemade tomato basil pizza sauce. Okay, so, or marinara, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, the thing you want to keep in mind when the tomato sauce that you use on any kind of dish like this, like a pizza or whatnot, you really want to look at the sugar content on it. Okay, so this one, it's a half a cup. And total sugars are 4 grams, okay? So that's important to know, because when I looked at some of the others, this is the one that we recommend, the Raoul's. There's some other good ones that have equivalent, you know, a half cup, 3 grams of sugar. But some of the others, y'all, it's outrageous. It's like 10 grams and up on sugar. So there are plenty of great sauces that taste great out there. This recipe calls for a half a cup of the tomato sauce, but since I doubled the recipe, it would be a full cup. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not a huge fan of tomato sauce in general. I kind of like it. It kind of gives some flavor, but a whole cup on this is way too much for me. So, so this will definitely not be a cup. But again, you can make it how it's going to work for you. And some of y'all know that I worked in pizza places all through high school and college. So now I'm right at home making pizza again. But this is way healthier than Mr. Gaddy's and Godfather's. Godfather's Pizza, where we had dough ball fights at the end of the shift at 1 o'clock in the morning. down in Northwest Austin on Anderson Mill Road in 183. It's no longer there, but it was in the 80s. All right, so that's your tomato sauce, and I didn't use quite as much as what the recipe said because for my family that doesn't cut it for us. Then it calls for a half a cup of the mozzarella cheese. Again, double that so it's a full cup. So we're going to sprinkle that cheese on the chicken crust. Spread it out. Spread it out. Okay. Now what I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to make kind of half for Mike and me and half for Matthew. So on mine and Mike's house, I'm going to follow the recipe as far as the tomatoes. Again, you can use whatever vegetable you want. And then on Matthew's part, he's my little carnivore. We're going to have pepperoni. So we're going to do his with pepperoni. He's not really watching his weight. He didn't have to. It's nice to be 19. Okay. And then I'm going to put some, since I don't have any basil, it also calls for fresh basil. And I'm just going to substitute mushrooms, and then I'm going to sprinkle some oregano on there. I'm not a huge basil fan, so it really didn't break my heart that I neglected that on the grocery list, so no biggie. Again, if you want the recipe, just let me know. I will send it to you. No problemo. These are the bella mushrooms. And then sprinkle with a little oregano. Voila! That's it. Now I'm just going to pop it in the oven for 10 minutes and we're done. And it doesn't look, I don't think it's still too hot. It doesn't look too big, but I will just tell you, this is the 4 servings, and I thought when I cut it, I just cut it in quarters, and I thought, one piece, I don't know if that's going to be enough for me. It was. I mean, it's much more dense, and it's deceptively filling, so it's plenty of food. Now, if you have a house full of kids, maybe not, but if you're just the average eater, then 1/4 of this whole pizza it's just very filling. It's very dense. So have a good one. Happy Wellness Wednesday. And again, if you want to be in our group that has a bunch more of these recipes and tips and encouragement for health, let me know. Give me a thumbs up in the comments, and I will send you an invitation to that. Bye, everybody. Stay dry.